That's fine. You want to plug it in? Might as well plug it in. Plug it in.
You'll have to undo yours, right? The music?
We don't need it.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for staying with us. You're listening to Real Estate with Ryan. I'm your host, Ryan Coleman. And if you've never listened to the show, I'd just like to introduce myself, owner, broker of Hometown Realty, and I've got a special guest with me. It's Carla Long from Genesis Title.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I'm glad to be on, and thank you for coming in. So if you guys are not familiar with the real estate transaction, maybe only bought a couple homes in your lifetime, the settlement process is a big step, and that's where all the money is dispersed, and they check title, and that's where you give the keys. You get the happy part of the job.
Yes.
Yeah. And so Carla's been in the business 19 years and is a preferred vendor of ours, and we highly recommend her. Does a great job for our clients and just makes the process smooth, and it's just worry-free when we deal with Carla. So, Carla, for the guests that don't know you or maybe not heard of Genesis Title, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm the owner of Genesis Real Estate Title. I've been in the business, it will be 20 years this fall, and been married for 20 years and have two beautiful daughters. And I'm born and raised in Knoxville. We moved to Anderson County in 2002, and that's where we are now raising our family.
Oh, neat. And your girls, they play sports?
The youngest, yeah, she plays travel, AAU basketball and travel softball.
So you're busy.
So if I'm not at the office, I'm either at the field or in the gym.
I'm sure a lot of guys out there can relate to that. Busy parents, and I know we are as well. So you guys, listen, one of the biggest things that you're going to do is obviously when you purchase a home, that step, if you're getting financing, if you're paying cash, but when you pay that loan off, what's important about it is you want to make sure you got clear title. You want to make sure there's no liens, that 15 years from now that something was missed in your purchase. That's why we always recommend here at Hometown Realty to get homeowners insurance, and then the number one thing, title insurance.
That's right.
And tell me what about title insurance, why it's important and why you recommend to your clients to get that.
So owner's title insurance it's optional, and it's a one-time cost that you're gonna pay at the time of closing when you purchase, and that's gonna protect you from any hidden risk that we couldn't see when we did a title search. And
how many years do they go back on the title search?
40, a minimum of 40. Mm-hmm.
And with the title insurance, that being said, now the owners there's an owner's coverage, and then there's a lender's coverage if you're getting a loan, right?
That's right.
And the owner's coverage covers just everything. The lender's included in, but then what do you see in your office typically? Is it owner's coverage or lender's coverage? What do the clients usually prefer?
When you have lender's coverage, if you take out a mortgage to purchase a property, the lender's going to require that you pay their premium, and that policy is only going to protect them. So usually when the buyer is already having to purchase the lender's title insurance because of the mortgage, then you're only making up a small amount of the difference between the loan amount and the purchase price. So your owner's policy is actually cheaper. It's called a simultaneous discount.
Okay. Sure. Well, that's neat. Now, what if I'm paying cash? Now, a lot of customers or clients that we deal with on a routine basis say, well, I'm paying cash. I don't need a title insurance policy.
Oh, but you absolutely do, because that's all 100% equity when you pay cash, versus if you have a mortgage, a certain percentage of that purchase price is already used for collateral for the mortgage. If you have an issue and you paid cash, more than likely you're going to have to use some of that equity for counsel.
And that's what I tell everybody. They think it's just because the other one didn't have a mortgage or anything on it, but the title search and title insurance is so much more than just seeing if there was an unreleased deed of trust. You and I were talking off air about how federal tax liens are just a big issue, and there's a certain restriction during that time frame. If you could tell the audience, and there's so many things that can come up that you may not be aware of, but that title insurance is a peace of mind. And a lot of people just are not aware of things that could happen, the horror stories behind the title issues.
So I was going to say, I could roll out some horror stories.
Don't scare everybody.
I won't.
That's what we have.
That's what the title insurance is for.
Exactly.
We have an attorney that does our title searches. So that title opinion is going to show the history of the property, how it was transferred, that is the chain of title, and then the status of the property taxes, liens, judgment liens, federal, state tax liens, and just say, for an example, the prior owner had a federal tax lien. Well, those are good for 20 years.
20 years.
If that was not resolved at the time that the property was transferred, its statute is 20 years.
So when I go to sell my property, if I didn't have title insurance and there was a federal tax lien that came around and the government was late to getting it established at the clerk's office, then I may have to deal with that myself?
You're going to have to deal with that because that's what we call a cloud on your title.
What if I didn't know it though?
It still has to be cleared in order for you to sell because you do not have clear and marketable title.
I tell all of our clients that the owner's title insurance is a couple bucks extra. Really, it's really no money. And the peace of mind to having that. You and I talked about it, just in hire attorneys, $300-400 an hour.
That's right.
And just to write a letter. And a lot of times, you can talk hours and hours of legal fees to try to get it resolved. When you're selling your house, moving to Texas, you can't afford to be having title issues and things like that. So we strong at Hometown Realty always recommend titles insurance, and that's owner's coverage and whether you're paying cash. Now, we talked a little bit about that, the title policy and what that covers, and whether you recommend having a survey or not having a survey. What's your thought on that?
I would always recommend having a survey. That also is going to have you or give you a peace of mind. You're going to know where your lot lines are versus if you have a meets and bounds description compared to a platted lot. If you don't have a survey, you're going to be going around the lot or the property with a metal detector looking for iron pins. So it's always best to have a survey, but it's not required. So
it's not required, but so many times we talk about the policies, and for guys that are not familiar with title insurance, there's an enhanced coverage that you can get as an Alta that covers and protects against those. But the reality is, without a survey, more than likely that could become an issue. So spending the extra money for the survey kind of covers you. If there was a claim for that, then they're actually covered.
Yeah, because you can title insurance without a survey on a policy. The title insurance company is going to make certain exceptions because you did not do a survey.
So when in doubt, get the survey. Anytime you're dealing with any kind of large land, lots, things like that, I always tell everybody you need a survey. If nothing else, to pin the corners and to know exactly where they're at, have a survey, kind of look at it and piggyback on that. Carla, a big topic, a lot of guys, a lot of states, we deal with a lot of states, my office does, and they're selling their home, mom and dad's passed, they were healthy, didn't have any issues, and they're looking to put it on the market, but they failed to do one important step. And I think with our office, we work really closely with your office regarding that, but talking about 10-care releases and how that's important and could stop the sale. Can you talk about that a little bit?
For a title insurance company, we are required to order a 10-care release, and that's whether or not the deceased person had 10-care. The normal turnaround time is 21 days to get that release letter from the state. The So what TennCare can do, if the deceased did have TennCare and they had long-term care in a nursing home, then the TennCare can attach a recovery claim to the property.
And a lot of times the family members, maybe it's a distant family member, a family member was out of state and really didn't know what wasn't being done, and it comes down to the 11th hour ready to go to closing, and we see a lot of delays because of that.
If you're coming down to the 11th hour, then call me as the title agent, because I can certainly make sure that you're not coming down to the 11th hour.
Now, you do this as a free service for everybody that's going to be using with you. If you got your house going on the market, I know a lot of our clients, you're doing that search for them before they're putting it on the market or as it's going on the market, so that 21-day period is not coming up and delaying their closing.
Yes, I can help with that process and walk the heir, which is most likely the one that's selling the property, or heirs, walk them through that process, or but yes, it's a free service. I'm all about building relationships and helping in any way I can, because whether you're buying or selling, that is a very stressful process. And
what's the best way that they can reach you for our listeners?
Yeah, my extension is 865-454-8000.
And of course, reach you online at genesisrealestatetitle.com.
That's right.
Easy to find. You're right here in West Knoxville,
Yes.
Cedar Bluff area, convenient location. What I like about Carla, and why we use Carla, is really just, we talk about that heart of a teacher. In our business, it's personal relationships. It's knowing that this is a big transaction, but more than likely, we want that client for life, and we understand that moving and selling all on the same day can be very, very stressful. So you need somebody that's in your corner, somebody that's going to hand you the keys and has that heart of a teacher. And Carla's office and their staff over there are wonderful. They care about your transaction. They know it's not just a transaction, it's a home. It's a purchase of one of the largest investments you're going to make, and they treat you with utmost care. And so that's why we highly recommend Genesis Real Estate Title. And for you agents out there, guys, that we're working with, colleagues, you definitely want to give Carla a shot. She does a great job keeping your clients up to date, keeping them up to date with where they need during the closing process, and then letting the agent know as well. We love it. We love the communication, and our clients are always very happy, so we thank you for that. And all our listeners out there, we'll kind of piggyback on that, is in this area we talk about, is the closing done by attorneys or title agents? Mostly in the state of Tennessee, I would say it's licensed title agents. So you're not going to normally get an attorney doing the closings. I know you have an attorney on your firm that does legal stuff, but so across the board, you're going to see other title companies that were doing the settlement transactions. Yes, and I would say even if it is an attorney firm, that attorney is not going to be the one doing your actual closing. Now, originally, I was from Virginia, and so we were more of a attorney state, and so we did a lot more of the attorney thing. But here, that is not the case at all, and you will not. You're right. You will not see attorneys come into the closing. So, and quite honestly, we all know that the attorneys have the great paralegals working behind the scenes doing most of the work anyway. They'd show up and half the time wouldn't know what's on the settlement statement. So, companies like Carla really make it more personable, a warm experience, and understand that process. But I want to talk about customers or potential clients that are buying. Maybe they're not working with Hometown Realty. Maybe they're working with another agent, and they need to understand that they don't have to go with the title rep, maybe that the agent is recommending. They have some choices, and it pays to maybe shop around. It does. Tell me a little bit about that and what your experience has been with that. So there are a difference in fees depending on which title company you choose or that is recommended. So it is the buyer's choice in this area and in Tennessee who they use as their title agent. So it's best for the consumer to shop around. And I know on our end, it's a phone call in just a couple of minutes.
few little pieces of information, and I can let you know right then and there what our costs are going to be.
Our listeners, we always tell everybody, it's important to maybe interview one or two agents and see what the difference is. I know we've got a lot of listeners here on News Talk. There's a lot of big teams and lots of agents, and there's a lot of great agents involved. But it's important to have another opportunity, get a second opinion, I say, because not all agents, not all title agents are the same, and there's a certain level of service that you get with a selection. I know in our experience, doing numerous transactions, that we've come across where the fees for the seller or the buyer are just outrageous. And there's some big title names in the area. I won't mention them. A lot of them are referred by other real estate. They're owned by those affiliate firms. We have no interest in Genesis Real Estate Title. They just do a great job, and they take good care of our customers, and that's all we could ask for. But a lot of times when you get the affiliate partners, the fees are inflated. And so you're overpaying for a lot of that marketing. Just something to watch, something to look forward to. Again, you're going to trust on your agent for recommendations, but it pays to make that second call to make sure your fees are not inflated and that you're getting the right price. But I think more than importantly, getting the right service, because I can't tell you how many times we've had a transaction and a closing and where our customers needed somebody that was going to help them close on this home, get them to Texas where their money is being wired, and seamlessly take care of the whole process. And sometimes with the bigger firms, you may not get exactly all that, but you get that one-on-one care here, and that you're just not another number. And that's what I like about your firm and what you bring to the table. And I think the customers love it, and because they get that personal feel. And agents, guys, you are listening, nothing can mess up a deal more than you go to the closing table and the title rep just ruins a transaction, doesn't have things together, doesn't have your client's money where it needs to be. And we could do a great job all the way through the process. We come to the end and they don't have a pleasant experience. Remember, it's the last thing they remember of you in their experience. Hey, Ryan, you did a great job, but you got us to closing. Who did you recommend? They just really stunk it up. And so I think that's so important. I won't get into that, but just keep in mind, guys, to shop around. Carl is always there, 454-8000, GenesisRealEstateTitle.com. We're going to talk about, on the other side of the break, we're going to talk about 10-care release and wire fraud and how that's coming up in the market and how you definitely want to pay attention to that. You're listening to Real Estate with Ryan. Take care. We'll come right back on it in 2 seconds.
Okay.
We're going to make sure we're recording so you can make sure that's still moving. It's moving, so we're going to do what we can. Let's try to just hit this and not going to make it super long. Don't want to get back. You good there?
So,
Feeling good? Questions, mainly?
so 10-care, we just did that one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So go wire fraud and do a little short sale foreclosure. I don't know. Whatever.
Okay.
You cool? Thank you for guys listening to Real Estate with Ryan. I'm Ryan Coleman, Hometown Realty, your host of Real Estate with Ryan, and I've got Carla Long in the studio with Genesis Real Estate Title, and we're talking about title issues and why it's important to get title insurance, and a lot of topics regarding the closing of your home and why you need a trusted real estate title agency in your corner and somebody that has the experience, that's been there, done that, and can walk you through the process and make it a happy move. So on the other side of the break, we were talking about a little bit about 10-care release, and I want to get into this topic. It's a big topic. It's wire fraud, and I didn't realize how rampant things are going and what consumers need to know about if they're closing on their home, their title agency, and some of the risk with wire fraud.
Right. It's very real, very scary. It is one of the fastest growing form of real estate cybercrime in the United States. So what the wire fraud is hackers coming in and taking the purchase money that's wired for their closing transaction.
So they're actually going in there and getting the wire to them, or how's it working?
So hackers will find a hole in either the title company's email the realtor or the loan officer, and then so once they find that hole, they are going to monitor those emails, and they're going to wait for an upcoming purchase transaction to be scheduled, and then the hacker will assume the identity of a title agent, the title agent of that transaction, and they're going to ask that buyer to change the wiring instructions, and the revised wiring instructions will be the criminal's bank account.
What?
So
get out of here.
Yeah, it's scary.
So I'm closing on my home. I'm moving to Texas. I need the proceeds from my home to purchase in Texas, and you're telling me the hackers are getting that money rerouted to their account versus my new title agency?
Your new title
Texas?
agent, their trust account. So, and then that criminal receives those funds in their account. They withdraw that money and vanish.
Now, are the feds getting involved in that at all? Or?
The feds do. They have implemented a financial fraud kill chain. But the FBI is only going to come in when the wire is over 50,000. International, and it's an international wire, and a SWIFT notification has been sent out, which is on the bank's side to do that, and then it has to be within 72 hours.
But how many of your funds are going out internationally? Very few?
Yeah, I mean, we hardly ever have any of that.
It's local, within the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, basically what you're telling me, the Fed's not doing much when it comes to this, that you really
it's up to your bank.
Okay. Well, what I like about the process with Carla and how it makes a difference is, I think, crooks are going to be crooks, and they're always getting smarter, and we've got to keep a guard on that. Now, on your emails, you have certain correspondence that how are you handling that to make sure that as much as you can, limit that?
As much as we can, absolutely. So we have a sterile environment, quote, with secure email, but that doesn't mean that hacker hasn't, that hacker, if they're going to come into the transaction, they've already started way back when you say had the accepted offer on the house. So even though we have done our part in securing that email and those wiring instructions when we send them to you, they still may have found a hole in the other parties involved in that transaction. So it's the chain of communication. If they breach any one of those chains, they're going to be able to come in at the right time. And
well, I think one of the things is, the obvious question is, what can we do about that, and how can we stop it? One of the things we do at our office is one-on-one communication. We talk about here is that our staff is working with Carla on the process. All of our clients, if they're getting a wire, they have a copy of the deposit routing slip. We're getting that to you, but we're knowing the time frames, and we're working specifically hand in hand with your office to make sure that everything's coordinated. And with our customers, most importantly, we're handling that for them. The customers are not doing emails and sending out wire instructions. So I think agents and potential clients that let us take control of that process, work hand in hand with our title company and Genesis Real Estate Title to make sure that you're not sending any wires without Carla's permission, and everything's run through Carla. And I think that's so important. And another thing, it's simple. It sounds simple, but pick up the phone. Mm-hmm. Right. When in doubt, make a call. Say, hey, Carla, I got an email from you. Is this something to worry about? And this is across the board. This is not just in your office. This is across the U.S. This is rampant.
It is, yes, and it's not, thankfully it's not happened at our office, but there is, examples of this happening in East Tennessee, in other states, and when, yes, the consumer has to be very cautious. If there is a change in wiring instructions, and we have a paragraph on our email that goes out that says, our wiring instructions are not going to change between, from now till closing. And I do think that that's great that you make that introduction to the title company verbally, one-on-one, because that chain of communication, it doesn't need to be email form.
I'm old school, Carla.
Yeah.
I like email and text and all that, but when I got big money coming in,
That's right.
I want to talk to you. I want to reach out. If I got to come by the office, a lot of our customers, we send them by the office, don't we?
Yes.
And face to face. And you're dealing with that kind of money, I want to make sure it gets to the right place. And so, nothing to be scared about, guys, but you want to understand that's out there, that's real. The criminals are getting smarter and smarter, and you need a great title agent that's on top of it with technology. Now, Carla, you're with a big title agency. What's the name of your firm that underwrites? Is that First?
It's First American Title
right?
Insurance Company. Yeah. So going back just a second, as far as how smart these criminals are getting as far as hacking and this wire fraud is, in 2016 there was $19 million in attempted wire fraud. Okay, so 2016, 19 million.
Okay.
2017, 1 billion in 1 year. So it's very real. I know I've said that a couple of times, but the consumer really has to be cautious.
I know we're always running out of time, but I think we've got a little bit of time on this topic. Now, tell me, if you're purchasing investments, as we know the market is heating up, we're coming into the spring market. If I'm purchasing a foreclosure or a short sale, is there anything I need to look at title-wise that we need to make aware before I make my purchase?
So if you're purchasing a foreclosure, so let's say you're purchasing it as, like you said, as an investment. So you're going to the courthouse and you're going to bid on that property. Usually you have a couple of days notice as far as what's going to come up for auction. So a service that I offer to investors is that we'll do a title search. So we're going to go in and we're going to run the title, and we're going to make sure that this trustee, which is the one that handles the foreclosure for the bank, that they filed their notifications, that they made sure that the mortgagor was not part of the military, that they wasn't deployed, then also that that they made sure that they did those processes the way that it is required by law, and also required for us to write title insurance.
I think you mentioned one time. Now, a lot of guys, there's a lot of investors. Everybody watches a lot of real estate shows, and it's exciting to get into it and exciting to get involved. But that's right. When you're dealing with auctions or some of these foreclosures, you have to be careful. We tell our clients, and that's why we like working with your office and making sure those things are taken care of. But there was one property in particular, I remember, I don't know if it was me or another customer was going to buy. The HOA was debunked. I mean, they went bankrupt. And so what that means to the consumer is, well, if you're going to buy that property and plan to resell it, good luck maybe getting a loan on it if the HOA or it's a condo association and they bankrupted. Because a lot of these lenders will not loan on that. So therefore, you're looking at a condo, you think I've got a really good deal. There's no liens on it, but the HOAs went bankrupt. It's dissolvent. And so now you can't finance it. It's a lower end condo, so you need an FHA or a VA loan, right? Mm-hmm. So what are we going to do? Well, you just got stuck with a condo. It's going to be rental property. So these are things, work with our office, and you can always obviously reach us at the office at 693-7653, or obviously call Carla, 454-8000, and we'll walk you through those steps. Good people trying to make sure that the purchase of your next property, whether it's investment, second home, or it's your home, it's your new home, make sure you're taken care of and understand that there's some risk there, but that's why you put on good team members and good players with you. We feel like we do a good job, and we wanted to showcase Carla today, how great that she does with us and our customers. And if you need a good settlement agent, I think definitely Carla is the place to call. Now, you said Genesis Real Estate Title. That's how they can find you online? Online, yes, that's right. Mm-hmm. As we close, Carla, is there anything else that we need to know that maybe as the spring market picks up that you think will be helpful for selling or purchasing in 2018?
I mean, as far as the title side, there's no two files that are the same. So I'm confident that with my experience and my passion to just build relationships and earn trust, that I would be a great asset for that part of the closing process.
Well, we know you would be, and I think that's why we love working with her. And if you need a good settlement agent, there's only one place to call. Carla Long, Genesis Real Estate Title, 454-8000. Again, this show always goes quicker than we expect. Carla, I appreciate you coming in and chatting with us. And of course, I'm your host, Ryan Coleman, Hometown Realty. You can catch us every Saturday, 5 o'clock here in News Talk 98.7. And until next weekend, stay tuned. Oh, by the way, listen, guys, if you guys are on Facebook, social media, like our page, share our page. It means a lot, and show us some love out there. RyanColeman.org if you on the internet and want to be surfing. If not, catch you next week. I screwed that up. I can edit it. I'll edit it. I started my butt. I'll be cutting that. It didn't cut off. Good.